Hey everybody, it's Adam from Encounter Wargaming, and today we're going to unbox the Primaris Impulsor. We're going to do much more than that, so dive in, let's check it out. Alright, so the Primaris Impulsor. Very cool. I'm very excited. I've been waiting since day one for this to drop. The Primaris stuff has always been a little bit limited. We've all been feeling that, and we've all been patient as things have come out, and we've been willing to be patient because the models are sweet. I love that new cool stuff is coming out. I love that it's a reason to buy new toys. That is what keeps me in the hobby. I am super not disgruntled that, you know, the old Space Marine stuff just went to the wayside, because you know what? The old Space Marine stuff was 30K anyways, so who cares? And so now I have cool new toys to buy, right? So the Impulsor. This is the Razorback / Rhino to the Repulsor, which is like the Flying Land Raider for the old Space Marines. So this is, so this is another grav amplified vehicle. Kind of skims along the surface. It's got a few guns, a couple different options. It is like the Damocles Rhino, the regular Rhino / Razorback / that kind of stuff. So there you go. So that's going to replace that. I love that we have new options for Primaris, new models to buy, and a pretty, cool kit to boot. I can't wait to open it up and show you guys, because, I actually didn't even know it was like an open top troop transport in the back until a few days ago. So excited. Been waiting forever for new transports to drop and not just have one option, the Repulsor, in which to transport all my Primaris stuff. So what's happening, guys? The line is expanding. What I want to do in this video is, number one, show off the kit, unbox it. Number two, do a rules review for you guys. And then number three, I want to show you guys all the magnetizable options to see how easy it is, because I don't even know myself. So I want to dive in, show you the magnetizing options, see how easy it is to switch them, and if that's something that's worthwhile doing, or if it's going to take you 20 hours just to get 6 magnets on there to do the 3 different options. So we'll see. Hopefully it's nice and easy. We'll find out. Let's jump in. Here it is in all of its glory, the Primaris Impulsor. So shall we take this thing out of the box? I think so. Beautiful. All right, so we got some instructions right there on the top. We got the weird little socket flying stand that the Repulsor has, and looks like 1, 2 sprues. So one kind of like main hull chassis, and one kind of like the grav amp bits. All right, looks like we got a set of decals, same ones as the Ultramarines vehicle transfer sheet, same as come in your Redemptor Dreadnought, and a base, which looks like probably the same size as the Repulsor. I wonder how big this tank is. So that's everything in your box. Let's take a close look at these 2 sprues. So very cool. So we got this big kind of Rhino chassis on the front with this big jet engine section fuselage on the back. You got some stubber action. We got our top hatch lids. We got our control panel, which sticks out, which you can see now from the back, unlike Rhinos where you have to enclose them in. You can see it now because it's like a landing craft. So the landing craft, there's the vehicle deck there. Arm bars and seats, very cool. And of course this fits 5, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it has 5. Well, actually, we'll check the rules on that. I don't know what the capacity is, but we will see. Very cool. All right, and I have no idea what half of these bits are, in fact. We got the Stormbolter turret, same as the Repulsor. It's probably the autocannon turret thingy here. The grav settings right here, and then these are all attached instead of individual ones, which is really nice. The pilot sticking out the top here. I wonder what the orbital bombardment thing looks like. Oh, we got a little like a satellite dish right here. At least part of it. Oh, here's the other part of it. Oh, it's pretty big. Still pretty small, but it's still pretty big. Very cool. Back engine armor platings. Back protective bars. Very cool. So just 2 simple sprues. There's not much to it. But yeah, it's basically like a flying Rhino / Razorback. So let's jump into the rules, and then what I'll do is I'll build it off camera for you guys, and I will do a size comparison. We'll put it right next to a repulsor and see how it stacks up. Stay tuned. All right, so here's the rules. So these guys stack up pretty well. They are 14-inch moves. They're definitely very fast, faster than the repulsor equivalents, which is very nice, as you would imagine. I mean, we'll see how they stack up, but I would imagine this is a smaller vehicle, at least by a slight amount. It's at least not carrying as many energy cells or ammunition to to power all of those guns that they have. So that's something. If it's not smaller, it's at least lighter. So anyways, 14-inch move, ballistic skill 3+, a base 3 attacks, which doesn't really matter. That's not what he's for. Neither is the 6+ weapon skill. But anyway, strike toughness 7, pretty standard for a Space Marine light vehicle, right? Just like a Rhino. 11 wounds, so 1 more than a Rhino. Very interesting. Leadership 8 and a 3+ armor save. Okay, obviously ways to improve that, either cover or otherwise. Okay, so stock, this guy is armed with just 2 storm bolters, okay? And so one option that's standalone is to upgrade it with an Iron Hail Heavy Stubber. Now we all know what that does. You could also give it 2 Frag Storm grenade launchers instead of your storm bolters. Now storm bolters obviously being the way to go right now. Okay, here are your different options. Okay, you can have a shield dome, an orbital comms array, or the missile array, or the Iron Hail Sky Talon array. Okay, so there's basically four main variations here. Okay, now let's go through the different gun ones. So the missile array, the Bellicatus missile array, you have Crag, Frag, and Crack, Frag, and Icarus. Okay, all of them are 48 inches. The Crack is a single crack missile. We all know what that is. Frag, same thing. Icarus missile, D3 shots. Okay, interesting. Strength 7, -1 AP, D3 damage, but you get the better roll to hit flyers. So interesting option there. Okay, now obviously going that way gives you a lot of tactical flexibility, but no high strength in any particular category, okay? But very flexible, very diverse, okay? We all know what Frag Storm grenades do. We all know Iron Hail Stubbers. So here's the Iron Hail Sky Talon array. Okay, so now it has 6 shots at 36 inches, strength 4 only, -1 AP, +1 to hit against flyers. Now, one would have hoped that maybe those were more like autocannons instead of stubbers, but they are indeed like an Iron Hail Stubber that's +1 hit against flyers. Is basically just 2 stubbers, 2 Iron Hail, Skyfire stubbers. Okay, now the very cool things are it's got the repulsor field, so it's -2 on the charge when you're trying to charge it. It's an assault vehicle, so if this model didn't advance, any units embarked on it can then disembark. And but if those models disembark after it moved, they can't charge, which they should have called it maybe a rapid deploy vehicle as opposed to an assault vehicle, because that would have made more sense for that rule, because they can't actually charge when they do it. So assault vehicle, rapid deploy, meaning go up the battlefield, deploy, as opposed to assault vehicle, which is, you can't get it perfect, but it's essentially, it's basically what it says, except without the assault part. A shield dome gives it a 4+ invulnerable save. So now that is very interesting, because this little tank all of a sudden becomes way more survivable, basically against anything except for mortal wounds. So that's a fascinating little option right there that I think many people are going to have. It's going to be challenging for people to decide exactly what to do with these things, but Iron Hands guys are going to love this 4+ invuln. I think a lot of Space Marine chapters are going to love this 4+ invuln. And a lot of that has to do with this orbital comms array not being as good as it could be. But I think some of the limitations on this are definitely needed, or else it would have been too good with considering the dedicated transport spam ability for most armies. So here we go. So here's the orbital comms array. One model in the army with an orbital comms array that has not been used this battle to call in an orbital barrage, or can call in an orbital barrage. You select a point on the battlefield, roll a d6. For each unit within d6 inches of that point, subtracting 1 if it's a character on a 4+, so characters get hit on 5+. On a 4+, the model suffers d3 mortal wounds. So it's just like an orbital bombardment for 3 CPs, basically, from Space Marine Army. So, so the thing being, you can't spam mortal wounds in one turn with like 10 impulsors, right? You can only do one of these at a time. So it could be an interesting little thing to have like 3 impulsors calling down an orbital thing every turn on top of using 3 CPs for orbital bombardments. Could be a very interesting little trick there, but only being able to do 1 a turn means it's not going to be as powerful as you would hope. Yeah, so there's no spamming option for that. Okay. So now, what can it transport? It has a transport capacity of 6. Okay, Primaris infantry, and it cannot transport jump packs or gravis models. So basically, just your regular Primaris infantry models only. Your incursors, your infiltrators, your intercessors, and that kind of thing. Reavers and such. So there you go. Of course, there's fly and the like. So that's very cool. I mean, power level 4 means it's going to be pretty cheap. I'll just have a quick look here at the points, because it's probably not going to be too much. Oh, here, tell you what, I'll look it up and I'll be right back. Okay, so most of the options are pretty similar, right? And so you're clocking in at 93 points if you go with the shield dome or the orbital comms array for the whole package, and then you're coming in at 80 points if you go for your Sky Talon array, so your obvious weak choice but cheap choice, right? Or you're coming in at 92 points with the Bellicatus missile array. So there you go. See how you like that? Let's move on. Let's build this guy up and do a size comparison with the repulsor. And here's the completed kit. So the Space Marine Impulsor. All right. Super fun to build. It is very similar in many aspects to the repulsor, with the grav wave emitters kind of hanging around the sides, and a very similar front nose chassis with the I don't know, just a very similar design. 2 lights, you know, an area for maybe a gun emplacement here, as well as a looking port, as well as the Aquila on the front, and just 2 flat panels with the grooves here. And so I really like this crossbar here coming across the front, and I really like the storm bolters on the sides. And now these actually fully come off, so you kind of rotate it. I have all my stuff in sub-assemblies, so I can spray those metal with my airbrush. But here you go. So these come off like that, right? So they just have a nice little clip assembly, right? And so these kind of just hold on. Now, let's do the magnetization options for this guy. I'll just show you what you have. And so I left the fuselages as an option as well to sub-assembly, to just spray all my metal stuff metal and glue it on top after. All right, so here we go. So you have essentially four main options, right? And I have them magnetized right here. And so you have the double stubber on the turret here, right? Very cool. And so I magnetized the entire turret to come off, okay? So 2 magnets there will do the trick. But the missile emplacement does use this piece, okay? So I magnetized these two. I had to cut a piece of sprue to go up and down there. All right. And then the missile pod one can just clip on in front as well. When you're building this one, just be careful to get this depth properly, so that I actually use this one to set the depth, right? Because it's the furthest one out. So you glue your magnet on here. You kind of use it to push your sprue back once you basically have it in position. There you go, so that it seals flush all the way around. And then you could just use a little green stuff to fill in the gap there, and then push this one in to set your depth there. So there you go. So I mean, three magnets could do the trick if all you were wanted to do was switch between these two options, right? And then you could just glue this on if you wanted. But also the magnet gives you a nice little rotatable turret too, which is a nice feature, right? All right, and so now if you take all those off completely, you can then switch between the other two options, okay? So you have your orbital bombardment here, which is a nice easy magnet onto this piece, okay? As well as your shield dome assembly right here, okay? And so that will take just one more magnet to then have that piece swappable, okay? So now you're running around with your shield dome. There's your 4+ invuln right there, or your orbital bombardment. It's kind of like your Damocles Rhino, right? Kind of floating around, fly style this time. So there you go. So that's how you switch between all of your options, which will give all the Space Marine players. Yeah, it's just great. It's great to know that your kit can do all the things, all the different options that you want it to do. Man, I love it. Really captures the assault vehicle feel. I love that you can see inside the tank. It's super cool. A lot of detail in there. The chairs are really nice. The control panel back there, all super sweet. Now I did a little conversion where I clipped the antenna and put on guitar strings. So that's just going to help with storage, right? Because these are flexible. But it also makes it a little bit like World War II radio antenna on a tank. So I kind of like that effect as well. And I may even my repulsors don't have it on it right now like that, but I may even clip them and do the same, just because it's so cool, and that may be a neat aesthetic for all my tanks moving forward. All right, and so there that is. So now I always wondered when these guys were coming out, how does it size up compared to other Space Marine vehicles? I mean, it's very, very hit or miss. I mean, I think we can all assume, right, that it's smaller than a repulsor, but how does it stack up against a Rhino? Because I think most of us would consider it the Rhino equivalent for the Primaris, even though / Razorback, right? Which Rhino Razorback is the same chassis. So there you go. So there's a Rhino, very similar size, right? It's about 10% longer, okay, on the back, and it's slightly taller. One, because of the fly assembly, but two, because it is a taller chassis in general, right? So there you go. You can kind of see it's about 10% taller as well. So there you go. So that's your Rhino, and of course, a Rhino stacks up to a Land Raider as such, right? So there's your Land Raider. I got a Land Raider Crusader as my comparison, but all Land Raiders are on the same chassis. So there you go. That's your Land Raider right there. So then, right, considering the Land Raider is significantly bigger than a Rhino. A Land Raider is what? Essentially 2 Rhinos stacked beside each other like that, right? And then much taller, probably, I don't know, 30% taller, right? Okay, so if that's the Land Raider and the Rhino, let's compare it to the Repulsor, right? Because that's its bigger brother. So let's get this guy and put him right next to it. So, yeah, pretty cool, right? It's definitely smaller. It's about I'd say 40% smaller, so it's very similar to the ratio between the Land Raider and the Rhino, though a Land Raider is, some might say, If I can move the Impulsor out of the way for a minute. Some could say a Land Raider is wider, okay, not just with the gun emplacements. So the main hull is wider, but then it also has the side gun emplacements, okay? So a Land Raider is wider than a Repulsor. Not taller. If it wasn't on the flying stand, it'd be about the same height, less the turret. And so these two are fairly comparable, okay, but a little bit thinner, okay. So considering then that the Impulsor is a little bit bigger than a Rhino, you know, it's closer in size to the Repulsor than a Rhino is to a Land Raider, right? So there you go. That's basically all the info you need. That's how to magnetize it. That's all the rules. I mean, you can even, if you're paying attention to what I'm doing, you can see all the sub-assembly options. Let me just take all those off for you, right? So of course, all the magnetizing ones you do in a sub-assembly as well. This one is a little bit harder to get out. So you do it, yeah, you do it all in sub-assemblies, right? Got these top hatches in sub-assemblies. I got my all these little ports here. Of course, the engine ports. These little ports here, if I can get them out. But yeah, I mean, so these two little engine bits, I will get them out and I'll paint them separately as well, just metallic. Obviously your storm bolters, right? So you can do a lot of sub-assembly with this guy, right? So there's your main chassis, boom, ready to paint. So very cool kit, like very versatile. You can do some cool conversions. I've already seen people fully seal these in. Very neat little conversion. Great little tank for the Space Marines. I'm very excited to run a list with a couple of these because I bought 2 of them, of course. And you know, you could have like 10 of them, you know, they're, you know, around 100 points and very versatile, fast, move your infantry around the board. And so I think Space Marines will get a great use out of this little tank. Not the most killy, but you know, it's yeah, pretty standard, pretty fast. It can do a lot of things. Can do a lot of different things depending on what you want it to do. So it's going to be, you're definitely going to see these around for sure. And in certain lists that want to spam, you know, flyers and tough vehicles with the shield dome, it's going to be a great kit for a lot of people depending on your battlefield role. All right, so let's wrap this video up and call it a day. So there you have it, folks, the Space Marine Impulsor. Great little tank, great little find. Lots of magnetizing options if you have some hobby skill in you. If you have any questions or any comments about this, we would love, just jump down there in the section below and drop us a line. And if you have any questions about how I magnetize, you want to see stuff in more detail or whatever, let me know. But it's pretty simple. I mean, not anything too complicated there. So, but if you do need some help, let me know. I'd love to help you out. And have fun with it, guys. Have fun with this little tank. I can't wait to, you know, surround some badass character like Guilliman with 3 impulsors, just creating a little area where nobody can charge, and -2 charge, and just blocking him in with 4+ invulns or something stupid like that, and just have fun with it. Or I don't know. They're great little tank for blocking lanes, moving fast, and getting some forward infantry around. I immediately when the Impulsor and the Incursor squads launched, I was or at least were released by Warhammer Community. I was like, oh, it'd be so sick to have a bunch of little 5-man squads just going around booby trapping all the terrain and just laying mines everywhere, and then also dropping orbital bombardments everywhere. It'd just be such a great way to flood the board with mortal wounds. It'd be really fun. So so yeah, there you go. Those are some of the fun things you can do with the Impulsor. Great little kit. You know, under $100, around 100 points. Have some fun with it, and that's that. So guys, if you liked that video, jump down there, hit subscribe, We would love if you could do that as well. Hit the little bell so you know when our future videos come out. You can also support us further by jumping down to our Patreon link down there. That's where you can support us for as little as $1 a video. We'd love if you could do that as well. And last thing you can do, I guess, you could buy a cool t-shirt, Encounter Wargaming t-shirt. So get some cool swag while you're at it. $2 patrons get some cool swag every year for free for supporting what we do. And so yeah, do that. We'd love that. And guys, that's it for today. We will see you at our next encounter.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way.